Morning out there, everybody. Alex here. It's early morning here in Savannah. I guess this is a tradition now because I did it very early in the morning last year, and that seemed to go over well because I'm kind of half awake and maybe a little more rough around the edges than I normally am. I said this last year, I'll say it again this year. Having a YouTube channel is easy. Maintaining a YouTube channel, keeping it interesting, keeping your channel updated and coming up with content and all that stuff, that's hard. And there's all sorts of evidence around us of what I'm talking about. We see channels come and go. Sometimes people take breaks. Sometimes they come back. Sometimes they don't. And that's because it's hard. It's hard to keep it going. The 10 channels that I am voting for are 10 channels that whenever they make a video, I'm gonna watch it. And the thing that generates that reaction from me is that over time, that channel has proven to me that whenever a video is made by them, it's worth watching to keep up with what they're doing. Maybe it's because of the way they approach the hobby. They may be collecting something that I'm not even interested in personally, but I can respect how they go about their hobby, their interest. They have a passion for it that's infectious. Maybe it's about the production quality or something like that, but not necessarily. I just am drawn to their content, and I think that's a really hard thing to do, and I think it deserves some recognition. So I have some notes so I can try to stay on track here with what I wanted to say about each of these channels. It goes without saying that there's a lot of channels out there, but you had to choose 10, right? So first up, I've known this guy for a long time now, it seems. We both started roughly around the same time, and I've watched his channel grow, which is a real privilege. And I'm talking about Geez Mikey here. Geez Mikey, when he started, felt like it was cool to know that this channel existed because the guy is just a really cool guy, and his personality comes through in his collection. He's got a really fun personality. He's got a lot of interest, not just baseball cards. He's interested in a lot of different things. Sometimes it shows up on his channel. And I've watched his channel get bigger and bigger. And a lot of people know about Geez Mikey now, which is great. But I'll also say that what's cool is that he's pretty much the same guy he was way back when he had just a couple hundred followers. He's a genuine dude. His collection's amazing. And I said this last year, a Geez Mikey video is a fun video. They're always entertaining. They're always reinforcing what I love about the hobby. And also, he still has the best intro on YouTube. So Geez Mikey. Next up, this next YouTuber has been consistently and quietly going about his business within the hobby at a really good clip. And I'm talking about Psyched on Baseball Cards, Tony. Tony is a real asset to this community, in my opinion, because he's a set builder. First of all, not many of us are set builders, but even those of us that have done it before can learn something from Tony, because I think Tony is a great example of how you should try to appreciate the set build as you're doing it. You know, enjoy the moments, enjoy each and every card, not just the big cards, not just the Hall of Famers, but the common cards too. And, you know, Tony methodically goes through each card that he gets in. Right now he's doing 1965 Topps, I think. And as each card comes in, he stops and learns a little bit about the player and shares that with all of us. And it's cool because you can kind of feel like you're going back into that era of baseball and kind of fleshing it out a little bit and expanding your knowledge well beyond Mantle and Mays and Musial and the other guys. And just the fact that Tony appreciates each card, that alone I think is huge and an underappreciated element of the hobby, and I'm grateful that Tony does that. But also Tony has a cool collection. He's just a super genuine guy, and anytime he makes a video, I'm gonna watch it. Okay, next up, here's a bit of a left turn. Ythof. Ythof investor, Ythof collector, Ythof the artist, formerly known as Ythof Sports. I can't remember very often seeing very many baseball cards on his channel, and I like to poke fun at him for that. But he is a collector, and if you ever have the privilege of getting to talk to him outside his persona on YouTube, you'll know that the guy is, you know, a genuine collector just like anybody else, is looking at cards all the time and getting cards. But I want to talk about his channel. The Ythof channel is so key to our community because Ythof reminds us how stupid all of this is. And he kind of brings us all back down to earth. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of unnecessary drama in this hobby, whether it's YouTube itself in our little community or just the hobby in general and the business side of it and the investing side of it. And there's a lot of people taking themselves too seriously. All of us do it. I do it. You do it, whether you realize it or not. And Ythof kind of says, hey guys, you know, they're just little pieces of cardboard pictures of men, and we all need to calm down a little bit, and we need that. And I'm grateful that he's out there doing his thing, because he makes us laugh, and that's pretty hard to do if you stop and think about it within this hobby, for somebody to find a way to make us laugh. So, Ythof. Chuck, Northside guy. This is a channel that is relatively new. I mean, it's been around for more than a year. Chuck is a genuine guy, and on his channel, I can say this, no one's doing what Chuck does right now on his channel. Nobody. And specifically, Chuck is showing his 33 Gaudy collection, one card or a couple cards at a time. It's an impeccable collection, and he's got an incredible eye as a collector. Nobody else is showing 33 Gaudy like Chuck does, and he also is collecting T206. He's going for rare backs, and he's got some really interesting, unique goals that you're just not going to see on any other channel. So that alone, I think, is worthy of recognition. He's a true fan of the history of the game. It comes through in his videos. It's not just about the card, it's also about the players and the teams and the cities that they come from. Anytime I watch a video by Chuck, Northside guy, I know that I'm gonna get a little slice of American history, baseball history, and baseball card history. And that's what I'm looking for when I go on YouTube, and Chuck provides that. And this might sound funny, but Chuck has great taste in baseball cards. You know, he just has a great eye. He goes after interesting cards, and that's fun to watch. It's fun to follow. Okay, impact player. So impact player Josh. Now I'm gonna say this first. Josh has not been making a lot of videos recently. Josh has been around in the community for a long time. Recently has not been making videos. He's got all sorts of legitimate reasons for that. He's a father, he's a husband, he's busy with work. But all that being said, Josh, make more videos. I'll say this though, he may not make a lot of videos, but when he does make a video, it's quality. It's a definite watch. He puts effort into his videos. They always are well put together, enjoyable to watch. But maybe more importantly than that, Josh has a great way of conveying his opinions on the hobby, on other collectors, on the cards that he's going after. I'm always interested to hear Josh's perspective on things, and that's important to me when I'm watching content on YouTube. And on a side note, Josh has an incredible collection that he needs to show off. Yeah, Josh, turn your camera on, find some time, get your kids to do it, because we all need to see this stuff that you've been getting. Coffee break. Five more to go. Okay. Mr. Bink Scott. I voted for Gary last year, and I'm going to vote for him again this year, even though Gary would probably say, Alex, don't vote for me. That's the kind of guy he is. Gary's kind of in the background, just doing his thing. He's consistent, reliable. Last year I called him a cornerstone of the community. I'll say it again. I think Gary's a cornerstone of the community from my perspective. Gary, as I said at the beginning, just kind of goes about his business. He shows his cards. He keeps it consistent. He keeps it simple. He has a great eye. He has a great collection. It's an extremely wide variety of cards from different eras. He has his, PCs and his interests, and he's a White Sox fan, but it's really all encompassing. It's really clear that he loves the game and he loves the hobby, and he's not one to, toot his own horn or look for accolades or any of that kind of stuff. But he deserves it. So, Bink Scott. All right, another guy nostalgic about baseball. So Andy's been around for a little bit of time now. Another guy that kind of just goes about his business and enjoys the hobby without necessarily getting a ton of attention, but he deserves it. It's clear to me that he loves baseball. He loves cards. He loves his Atlanta Braves. And Andy has something that's, for me at least, is pretty unique on his channel. He's the kind of guy that can, in one video, rip open some packs, and I'll watch it, which I don't often do, in general. And in the next video, he'll show off some PSA graded cards of Hank Aaron. And he can kind of mix and match and do a lot of different kinds of stuff on his channel. He's not easy to pin down. He collects vintage mostly, but he loves all different sides of the hobby, and he can engage in all different kinds of stuff within the hobby, and I think it's a really good indication of just the kind of guy that Andy is. Like Andy just goes about his channel the way that he is in real life, just his personality, and that's cool because it's genuine, it's for real. Okay, next up, this guy is newer to me, although I've had the privilege of getting to know him over the past year, and I can say that I've really enjoyed getting to know him and getting to know his channel. The first thing that comes to mind with this particular channel is that he really puts a lot of thought into his videos, and I appreciate that, because again, it's not easy to keep a YouTube channel going. And I'm talking about Near Mint Musings, Brent. So whether he's doing a showcase of a PC that he's putting together, or maybe doing a video about a single card that kind of takes him off on a journey into baseball history, Brent puts a lot of thought and effort into his videos. and I respect that. And when he posts a video, it's gotten to the point where when I see a Near Mint Musings video, I can already sense that it's worth watching because I want to appreciate the effort that he puts into his work. Sometimes it's simply a commentary. He might just turn the camera on and share some thoughts about what's going on in the hobby or how he sees things. And even that, again, there's a lot of thought and effort put into that I definitely respect. I consider Brent an advocate for the concept of what it means to be a community. You know, he's in it not just for the cards, but for the opportunity to connect with others. I think we're all in it for that, but sometimes maybe that gets put to the wayside, and I appreciate that Brent always tries to tie it back to that. From my perspective, I think he does. Okay, two more. Think Blue 77. The first thing I wrote down was unassuming. I'm not sure why I picked that word, but Jesse just isn't one to brag about what an incredible collection he has, but he has an immense collection, and it's not just cards. He has a lot of memorabilia. He has vintage baseball gloves. He has an incredible autographed baseball collection. He's got bobbleheads. He's got a museum to the Los Angeles Dodgers in particular, but he also has a wide variety of memorabilia and cards. He has an incredible eye that is behind that collection. I wrote down that you can learn a lot. You can learn a lot from watching a Think Blue 77 video. And it's not that he's actively, trying to give you tips or pointers or anything like that. You can just learn a lot by how he goes about putting his collection together. You can learn a lot about vintage baseball gloves. I mean, where else are you going to hear about that on YouTube? And it's been a pleasure getting to see his collection grow. I've gotten some really big tips from him in his videos just by watching how he does what he does. I've learned about some books that have helped me in my collection. And so for me, when I see a Think Blue 77 video pop up, I know that I'm gonna absorb something valuable that's gonna help me with my journey in collecting. So I appreciate that about his channel. And then last but not least, and you knew this was coming, there's a lot to say about the Zombie Collector channel. But I want to focus on something that often gets overlooked and underappreciated when people tend to talk about this channel publicly. There's a lot of stuff to talk about, but I'm going to talk about what maybe doesn't get talked about as much as it should, which is that Jason is a genuine collector. He loves baseball cards, and he's really, really passionate about card collecting, and he's really passionate about the game of baseball itself. And he's so passionate about it that he's pissed off about what's been going on lately in the game of baseball, where politics has been seeping into it and, kind of getting in the way of the game on the field. And some of us may not want to talk about that or like to dwell on it because it's easier to ignore it than it is to think about it or talk about it. But Jason's not afraid to do that, and I can respect that about him, that he can get really passionate about something because he cares about it. Putting aside whether or not he's right or wrong, that's something that you can spend time debating if you want to, but what he's right about is that, maybe there is a problem, and more importantly, it's clear that he cares, and I think that's something that we should all remember, because some of us are less brave to speak our minds and share it publicly. And also I want to say that he has a really unique PC. You know, it's a card collecting channel, and he's showing stuff on that channel that you're not going to see anywhere else. He's after Japanese players, and there's a really wonderful reason why he's into Japanese players is because he spent a lot of time over there, and he has a personal history with that country and with the game of baseball there, and that's fascinating. You know, where else are you going to find that on YouTube? Not many other places. He, of course, has a team. He likes the Reds, and he PCs certain guys, but there's good stuff happening on that channel, and there's a passion on that channel that you may not come across in other places. And so that's why I'm going to vote for Jason for Zombie Collector. So that wraps up my 10 votes. I want to say thank you to Mike, to Baseball Collector, for once again taking this on and organizing it and having to go through all these videos and everything else. Appreciate it, Mike, and I know that you have only the best of intentions behind it, and I respect that, and I think it's a wonderful thing, because I remember the first time I started my channel, many of the very first channels that I discovered were a direct result of this Hall of Fame process, because everybody's shouting out channels, and before you know it, you're discovering wonderful channels that you otherwise may never have found. So that's, to me, that's the whole point of this, and I'm happy to be a part of it and contribute to it. So thank you, Mike, and good luck to everybody, and take care, and have a good morning.